Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Simply Done Concierge. Folks, we talk about creating time every week. There are ways to do that. One of the ways to do that is have somebody else in your place while you're doing something else. And the team at Simply Done Concierge can do that with meal prep, packing and unpacking, pet sitting, errand runnings, all kind of things like that. So you can go do what you need to take care of. Go to simplydoneconcierge.com. I'll let them know what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. And if you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and the surrounding towns, means every week, 32 chapters and almost 550 members get together. Our job is to help each other grow our business and book a business, and our local small business success story is a fitting guest for episode number 200, folks. I would like to thank everybody that has been along the way with the show. We've had a blast. I know we brought you some good guests and some funny stories. Thank you for being with us. We hope for another 200. But the best guest to have this week, and Wes, I got to tell you in a second, I got to thank my wife for this, but Wes Harper, owner of Lightwire Inc. It's all about computers and internet and cabling and wiring and security and keeping everybody out of trouble, which we'll get to. But you may know him best as one of the all-stars on the show Naked and Afraid. Wes has been on a number of shows, which we'll get to. Wes is the first three-time guest on the show because he keeps creating his own content, which makes it very easy to have him back. Wes, glad to have you on the show today.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Very much appreciate you letting me be here, and congratulations on your 200th episode. That's very exciting.
Thank you very much. I was talking to my wife about a week and a half ago. I said, hey, I got episode number 200 coming up and trying to figure out what to do with it and who to have on. And she goes, well, how about the guy that's on Naked and Afraid? I mean, it took her like 30 seconds. So, oh, sweetie, you do retain information on some of the guests I tell you about. So, and I called you up and you took 30 seconds to answer. You were in town and everything. So I'm very happy to have you here. Before we get to the Naked and Afraid stuff, which is just, again, one of the neat things about this show is talking to people that'll do stuff others won't or haven't. But we'll get to that. But your day job is Lightwire Inc., which you've owned for 24 plus years. And
it's been a long run.
How old were you when you started this?
26.
And why did you start Lightwire?
Probably because I was naive and young. I thought, hey, I'll own my own business. That ought to be easy. But I always had a love of technology. I really did. And so I had worked for a few other people in the past, and it really wasn't for me. I wanted to make the rules. And so there we were.
What was the best thing from growing a business standpoint that you learned early on?
Work hard, have mental fortitude. It's tough. As any small business knows, it takes a lot of work, and you have to be very determined, and you have to just set your jaw, and go for it, and just stay vigilant and keep getting after it.
And we talk about a lot of things that go into growing a business, but I think you nailed the number one thing to do is just show up every day or show up at events regularly where you get to meet people, they get to know you. And a lot of people I don't think they put as much weight in that as they should.
I agree. You really have to spend the time. Yeah, you have to have a desire to succeed, and you have to do the things that other people might not want to. It's hard to go to events 4 nights a week at 5 o'clock when you've been working all day. I mean, that's borderline miserable sometimes, but if you're putting in the time, it'll pay off.
Yeah, and small business ownership is not for everybody. I call it stressful freedom, and it's both of those about every hour, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. People always say, "Well, you work for yourself. You don't have a boss." Well, except for every single customer I have.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I've got about 1,000 bosses.
Yeah. And we don't realize that having the ability to make that decision of, you know what, I'm going to take Friday off. Great. how are you gonna backfill those 8 hours on Monday through Thursday?
Right, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I other than the naked and afraid time,
Yep,
I don't think I've truly taken a day off in, years,
yep, yep.
years, even to this day.
That's one of the reasons for your success, I'm sure. All right, so in your world lately, we've been hearing about AI or artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
and some of it may play well, some of it in the wrong hands, like the internet and stuff like that. What are you guys first of all, what are your initial thoughts as a small business owner on AI?
Well, as a small business owner, the first thing you say is, "How can I make this work for me?" How can I take advantage of it? How can I learn about it? And, I think, it's a healthy fear, but if you have these tools, you gotta be able to take advantage of them, right? Whether you're doing very simple stuff like creating a brochure from OpenAI, ChatGPT, to doing more complex stuff. But I think you have to roll with it. We keep changing, we keep evolving, and if you decide you're not going to, you're not going to continue to be successful, honestly.
Is this more geared toward businesses versus people at home that may not own a business but work for someone else?
You know, right now it's at such an infancy that it's gonna be for everybody or against everybody in some kind of capacity as we go forward. I don't think, there's gonna be a single person, whether they're a grandmother or a business owner or an employee, who's not going to be affected by AI.
The first and biggest thing I've seen lately with stories I've read and some interviews I've watched is voice from AI, where I believe now we could call our family and friends that know us pretty well and fake
Mhm.
out most of them. And I I don't know I don't know what to think about that, Wes.
Yeah, there's that whole, "I'm in jail, can you send some money?"
Mm,
I mean, that little scam's going on. There's so many of them right now. I mean, you chat like, let's just say ChatGPT, that's a very common one that's might still be free that you can download. It can write ransomware code,
mm.
so it's being a bad guy, but it also has the ability to have, eh, well, we used to call it antivirus, now it's endpoint detection response, and so it can mediate that, remediate that. So it's like a fight amongst itself. You can use it for bad, you can use it for good, but it's somewhere in the middle, and it's going to affect all of us for
Yeah,
sure.
and I heard a couple people talking on an interview, I think I saw it late last week, and they said, "Wha if you think that's not somebody who you believe it is, family members are starting to say, 'Hey, here's a password now. Whenever you call me, say this first, and I'll know it's you.'"
Yeah, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's scary that you have to do that with your own family members.
Yep.
But it's better than getting your bank account wiped out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The other thing I heard, and somebody was joking about it, I think, last week,
Mhm.
they said that now students can do all the research and then give that to AI, and AI will write the paper, and I'm like, "I think that's a really bad idea for it to learn," because the research is one thing, but putting it together and writing the paper, I think there's something to that.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%, and that's happening. That's widespread.
Mm,
I mean, the kids in college are 20 years old. We're
yep,
decidedly older than that, so we're coming in late to the game. They've been writing their papers through OpenAI
yeah,
for a while now, and
yeah,
it's a battle because then you got to figure out if it's really them or really the computer writing the paper, and it's a mess.
yeah.
It's a real
Yeah,
mess.
and I know back when I was in school, our shortcut was something called Cliff's Notes,
Oh
where
yeah, everybody.
he would sum up or they would sum up War and Peace, which is like a 900-page book, into about 15 minutes for you to write your paper, and we thought we were stealing time right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we were so smart. Now they can just type into Chat GPT,
Yeah.
please summarize the grapes of wrath in 10 sentences.
Oh,
and within seconds, you get exactly that. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Do you wanna say something, Amnon? See, you piqued
Yeah, no,
Amnon's
well,
interest now.
yeah, no, but the talk about ChatGPT, there was a story that we were talking about yesterday that a professor at A&M University gave the class, I mean, did not pass them because he said that he asked ChatGPT if this was written by it, and ChatGPT said yes.
Yeah.
Now, now,
Nice.
now, now. Then a conversation started going with people that understand ChatGPT, and the word is ChatGPT cannot say yes, I wrote it. It can say, well, it could be.
Mhm.
What they did, they took a piece of the thesis of the professor way before ChatGPT, right?
Mhm.
And fed it and said, was this written by you? Said, yes.
Oh,
So they proved that it's not foolproof. I mean, there are things it needs to be tweaked so much.
Yeah.
It's a tool.
yeah.
Use it and you have to decide. We needed a program that we couldn't find anywhere, a script. You find pieces all over the internet, but
Mhm.
nothing that. So I said, well, let me try it. I never tried it. I went in and I said, okay, how do I write a script to do such and such? It went, certainly, and gave you a paragraph with the script, with the language and everything. Now, it
Mhm.
wasn't ready to use, and my sysadmin is still looking for it, but he said, yeah, that's great. That's so it can be used, it wrongly used.
Yes, just like the internet.
Don't make
Yeah,
decisions
yeah.
based on it. Not yet.
You you remember 20 years ago, we watched The Terminator, maybe 30
Yeah,
years, and he was the bad guy, and then in Terminator 2, he was the good guy
the good.
and the bad guy,
Yeah,
and AI fighting each other. I mean,
yeah.
life imitates art, right?
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Yeah.
So one of the places where AI won't show up is when Wes is on his other job on Naked and Afraid, because you have uh, a bag. So I learned in the collar you wear, there's a microphone. So
That's
they can
correct.
hear you in the
OB.
bag, right? In the bag we talked about, there's a battery pack, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Okay. But
absolutely.
other than that, you get to bring one thing with you.
In general, yes,
All
you get
right.
to bring one thing that they help you decide what you want to bring.
Have you changed? What did you bring on the first show, and has that changed until now?
Oh, let me see. First show, I brought some rope for helping to make traps and shelters. And I did that also on my third challenge. I brought the same thing. I would bring that again anytime. It's such a valuable thing. Now, having a fire starter is also paramount
Yeah.
in most cases. But usually that's part of the deal, unless you're in a real dry environment where you can use a bow drill, rubbing two sticks together.
There you go.
It's rare that you're getting in a real dry environment, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
they, they
Is
like the wetlands and the swamp and the
yeah.
bugs.
There you go. So for people who have not seen Wes on the show before, this all started when he was watching the show on TV, chirping at it, probably giving very well thought out tips
Oh,
to the
sure.
contestants on the show. And your wife, Molly, did she tell you she was sending in an application for you?
Oh yeah, she said, "All right, wise ass, we're doing it." And she sat down with her laptop. Now I will say that we had a couple beverages while we were watching the show. So let me just make that clear. But yeah, she filled it out right there and we laughed and she sent it off. And the next day I got a call from Los Angeles. It
And
was
yeah,
amazing.
and you told me that one of the reasons why you thought they liked you initially was because you were one of the few, if the only, small business owners.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not a knife maker. I'm an IT guy, and I've owned a successful business for a long time. And something about that, I was a marathoner and all that too. but something about that I think grabbed, and I was also probably in the right place at the right
Mhm.
time. Luck plays into a lot of things like that. So yeah, I don't know, but they took me, and it's been a whirlwind ever since then.
And the first thing, if I remember right, about one of the first things you did was just started walking all over the neighborhood barefooted.
Oh yeah, yeah, months and months and months. To
Can
this
you
day, people see me walk barefoot, they
Yep,
go, "Oh,
yeah.
are you going back? Are you going back?"
I can't
Mhm.
tell you. Hi, have a good day, yeah. Can you light a match on the bottom of your foot now?
Yeah. Yeah, I have the ugliest feet you have ever seen. You don't want any part of that. No.
Alright, so we've been able to talk to you on the show after Brazil, after South Africa, and after Ecuador, which was COVID, and
Right.
they came knocking on your tent one night and said, "We're done. We gotta get you home."
Yeah, yeah, on, day 18 of 21, I only had a couple days to go, and they came and they said, "We're done. We've gotta go, and we've gotta leave now," because they were shutting down the country. I mean, the country. Roadblocks and barricades and, airport shutting down, and so, yeah, they had to yank me out of there super, super fast.
And you had no idea it had gotten to this level because you are truly out of contact.
No, I had no idea about anything. Before I left, I'd heard about it, but that was when it was just a China thing,
Yep.
just like any other thing that comes out of China. Oh, it's over there, it's over there, and then it was here. Yeah.
And the camera people and any technicians
Mhm.
following you, you can't talk to, and so they couldn't, update you on anything, right?
No, no, that's part of the deal. You don't get outside information. The only time they would do that is if a loved one
Mhm.
had a severe issue. Then they'll break form. But other than that, you don't know what the score of the ball game is. You don't know anything. So it was a complete shock to me when they announced that and said I had to leave. It was terrible.
So your next show probably came about because they ran out of really hot places to go to. So they thought, "Hey, let's drop some all-stars off in Montana in the
And
wintertime." Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And your first thought when they called you about that was what?
was yeah, I'll go. My second thought was, oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so miserable. But no, yeah, I mean, I've said it. If Discovery calls, I answer the phone. I mean, I've got that in me that I love it, even as horrible as it is. And so I immediately said, "Yeah, I'm in," and then just shook my head for the next 2 weeks.
Now, what were you allowed to wear or take with you that was different from the shows in the summertime heat?
Actually, nothing was different about what we were allowed to take. That was all the same parameters. But once we got there, we were given some extra items. Some to stave off death,
Yeah.
like a caribou hide. Everybody got a hide, so you had some kind of covering, and you were able to cut that and make a hat or shoes or whatever. So we got a little bit of stuff, enough to make a fire and boil water, and enough to just cover yourself. But it was cold.
What
It was cold.
was and this is really gonna sound like a stupid question, but I know you'll answer it correctly. What was the toughest thing about? Because 'cause you're used to being in the heat. You got that down about as well as anybody could. But what was the toughest part once you got into that cold of navigating each day and each night?
Your motivation was
Ooh.
zero. All you wanted to do was stay next to the fire and cover up. So the motivation to do anything other than that was just an absolute zero, with the exception of you still needed to get water, you still needed to get firewood, had to find something to eat. And so it was very forced instead of wanting to do stuff for your sake of, hey, it's time to go see if we can rustle up some food. You were like, we have to. We have to leave this shelter and it's only 18 degrees.
No.
Yeah.
Now, did you have a shorter course to get through than you did when you were in South Africa or Brazil?
Yeah. This was a 14-day challenge.
Good.
This was only 14 days. But they had done a couple previous Frozen episodes where very few people made it. I mean, it was one of those where they said, "Hey, this is one of the most challenging things we can put people up against." So let's throw some all-stars out there and see what they can do.
Could you eat enough to help stay warm?
No,
Because I
no.
know in previous shows you said the weight loss was dramatic.
I didn't eat for 10 days. I mean nothing for 10 days. And then we were able to get some crayfish and a rabbit. We were able to snare, but for 10 solid days, I didn't eat a morsel of food.
How come?
There really wasn't any to be had except for what you could catch. And catching food is really it's a lot more difficult than what it looks like on TV.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fishing, was there anything to get other than jumping in the, below freezing water to hand catch a fish?
Where we were, there really wasn't. There was very small minnowy type trout. And they weren't biting. I mean, it was cold, it was 18 degrees. The water was not frozen, but nothing was biting. Let's just say that. And so we really had to rely on making a fish trap, fish basket. One of my partners, Sarah, made that, and we were able to get some crayfish. But there just wasn't food available. You couldn't go pick something off a tree. You had to really work hard to get anything at all to eat.
Did you find yourself drinking more water to make up for that as best you
Yeah,
could?
yeah. Yeah, you try to trick yourself by drinking as much water as possible to fill your belly. I believe on that one, I lost 20 pounds in 14 days.
Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Can I think I'm
Just
safe in I think I'm safe in saying that's the longest you've ever gone without food, right?
10 days, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was getting weak, and I knew I could make it 4 more, but I didn't want to.
Did you know it had been 10 days?
Oh, yeah. I knew it took 10 days and 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, I knew exactly.
Uh,
Time moves slow, and you keep track of every minute of it when you're on these challenges. I
h
can promise you that.
Alright, how do you keep track of hours if you have no watch? Do you have a watch on you?
No, come on, Mike, you know better than that.
Then
By the position of the sun, I
okay.
mean, okay, it's sun's high in the sky, it's probably noon, it's starting to get dark, 4 o'clock. I mean, within a few hours, you
Alright.
know where you are during the day.
Did you have any trouble remembering by day 8 that it was day 8?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all. I was counting them down from day 1. Yeah.
So the goal is to finish, I remember, chatting earlier with just trying to get off that.
Yeah.
When you finally got to your, end point,
Mhm.
what were the first couple things you did in the first 4 or 5 hours?
First hour, I had to call for the medic because I had frostbite on 2 of my toes.
Mhm.
I had to have the ends of my couple of my toes kinda removed for frostbite, so that was kind of paramount, but other than that, it was eat everything I could
Yeah.
possibly find and then get a shower.
A hot shower for about an hour, right?
Oh, a long time, yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get that core temperature up. I
Now
mean,
and
it's
can I
a
assume
hard time.
can I assume that 18 degrees was the high each day and not the low?
No, it would get up to 40 some days, but
Oh,
there was always a wind,
okay.
but nights, I mean, we had sub-zero nights sometimes. Yeah, it was cold.
Did they check on you more than they did in the hot locales?
Yeah, they sure did. They, would do hypothermia checks on us every single day.
Okay.
And I like I said, I got frostbite on a couple toes that I hid. I didn't want them to know that because I was afraid they might tap me. I got burned really bad on my back, and I tried to blow that off. I mean, you got to be close to the fire and things like that. They
Oh,
happen. If you're gonna do what I do, you better be prepared for some scars because it's just part of the game.
so were the flames jumping out of the fire pit onto you?
Yeah, I was sleeping really close to it. I was the one that took care of the fire
Okay.
um, all nights. That was what I wanted to do to make sure it never went out. I didn't want to rely on anyone else. And so by consequence, I was staying really close to the fire, and I just melted part of my back one night.
Gee whiz, Wes.
Yeah, I know. I know. It doesn't look good in a swimsuit. I can promise you that.
Well, did you have any snow to go roll in to make it feel a little bit better?
All you had to do is step outside. All you had to do was step outside. Yeah, absolutely.
So you work with a partner. Did
Yeah,
the roles change any from the hot shows to the cold show on what everybody did every day?
yeah, kinda. I mean, there on the hot shows, you have a lot more available time to be outside away from your fire. And so really, some you're always gathering firewood. They don't show much of that because it's boring.
Yeah.
But you're always gathering firewood, you're always getting water, and then you're always looking for something to eat. And then anything else you can possibly do is the fun stuff, you know. But yeah, everybody just kind of chips in. One person does this, one person does that. It's as long as you get a decent partner, you can work those things
Mm.
out.
How did you start those fires?
Fire starter,
Who
Flint and
brought
steel in Montana.
who brought that?
I think that was provided to us on this one.
Okay.
I
Alright.
think, yeah, every person on that got a flint and steel because they knew that if you didn't get a fire in the first 2 hours, you were out of there. You would
Oh,
not.
wow.
So that was a mandatory item that they provided.
Once that show ended, well, actually, once you got home and you probably knew some other folks that were on the show, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
knew all of them.
What did everybody talk about afterwards? What kind of stories did you share with each other?
Um, I mean, we couldn't talk about the cold enough of how miserable it was. And really the story of how much weight you lost
Yeah.
was second because nobody ate a whole lot except for a couple guys who found a dead coyote,
Ooh,
and so they were able to eat that and space that out over time. But other than that, resources were very thin, and everybody was dropping a pound to 2 pounds a day. All of us.
wow.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I
The thing
s
is, when you get home, then you eat everything under the sun,
Yeah.
and you put that right back on just as quick as you took it off.
You how much time passed from when you were finished till you got on a plane to fly home?
Oh, maybe 2 days.
Okay.
2 days, just long enough to really warm up
Yeah. Oh,
and
I
get
bet.
some food in your belly, and then you go. So,
Ho
yeah, it wasn't long. The
Okay.
the kicker was I was only home 2 months before I got the next call. You wanna
So
talk
Yep,
about hard to explain to your wife?
yeah. So real quick on that, are the spouses given updates like every other day? "Hey, just let you know he's fine." Oh, okay. They just
No.
trust that if something happens, you'll be pulled out?
Yeah, the
Okay,
only time I got an update was during that COVID one because it was different. I didn't get an update until they pulled me out, but they had called my wife, Molly,
okay.
and they had said, "Hey, we're checking on you because of the COVID situation. And we were letting you know that we're gonna talk to Wes and we're pulling him out and sending him home to you as quickly as
Yeah,
possible." And so when they pulled me out, they said, "We talked to your wife, your kids are fine, you're
good.
fine." That's the only update I've ever gotten, and that was as they were pulling me out. So it wasn't even part of the challenge. It was when it was a minute after it was over.
Yeah. Wow. And the reason I ask about getting on the airplane flying home, I'm assuming you get recognized a little bit now, right?
These days I do. Yeah, these days I do. Um,
And
it's still fun.
what's the first thing they ask you about?
The first thing you wanna do is take a selfie,
Okay.
because that's what you do these days.
Yep.
And then they wanna know about the bugs. By and large, it's always about the bugs, and that is a very smart thing to say because that is number 1 awful.
And you've eat did yeah, how many have you ever sat down to figure out how many different types of bugs you've eaten?
Oh, yeah, I kinda play that game in my mind. Yeah, I do. I've eaten everything under the sun. It's really amazing. I go from corporate West, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Corporate God, and then I go out and I eat, worms, grub worms, ant larvae, termites, I eat scorpions.
Yep.
It's unbelievable, really. It's like I'm 2 different people. When I get out there,
Yeah.
I shut down the corporate side, and I'm just a wild animal.
And it truly is. I mean, it's easy for us to say because 'cause we're not out there with you, but it truly is about survival. You'll eat a scorpion to stay alive.
Oh, yeah, yeah, lots of them, and snakes.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, yeah,
Okay. So the show that's out now is Last One Standing in South Africa.
yeah. Yeah.
What can you okay, so you said 2 months after you got back from Montana, they called because they probably knew you were bored and ready to get back out there, right?
Right. Right. No, yeah, I got the call and they said that they were pulling their 12 best survivalists, their legends, and seeing who's the best, who can be the last one standing, like it says. And so I got that call, and I had to talk with Molly about it because that 2 challenges in 1 year is a lot to be away. And she said, "Wes, I don't know how you can't do it. This is everything that you've been going for, everything you've been training for to be part of that crowd, the upper echelon of the naked and afraid survivalists, and now you're there." And so she put her stamp on it, and I called him back and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we're watching it on TV now.
Yeah, and not only is it tough to be away from family, but that's tough on the body too, isn't it?
It is. It's really tough on the body. I mean, you hurt. I mean, I'm 53. Just lying on the ground hurts. I mean, really, it's tough. You get burned. Your feet get destroyed, no matter how tough they are. You get thorns in you all day long.
Mhm.
It, yeah, and it's tough on a body. Yeah.
Do you go see your doctor more often now that you've been on this show?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're on first name basis. I sign an autograph for him. The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
He
He's very specific. I'm
y
going to approve you, but the second you get back, you're coming in my
yeah,
office. Yeah,
yeah.
we're
He probably enjoys seeing you because it's not the run of the mill cases with you, is it?
no, it is not. It's always something fresh and new. He spends a lot of time laughing at me. That's for sure. Hmm.
Are you required to go to get a physical before you fly out?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
very intensive what you have to go through before you fly out just to get approved for the show. Medical evaluation, psych evaluation, it's every vaccine known to man, and I
Oh,
mean everyone. Yeah, I've been. I don't get sick anymore. I just don't get sick anymore. It doesn't happen.
you've gotten shots for things we've never heard of before, haven't you?
I really have. I really have. I mean, who gets shots for yellow fever? Huh? I do.
Was it a different set of shots for Montana versus South America?
Now, Montana, we really got a pass on since it was in the States, as long as you were up to date on your regular shots,
Yeah.
your tetanus shots and all the run of the mill ones, as long as you were up to date on those, you were fine. It's just when you go outside the country that
Yeah.
they really buckle down on what you need.
Do your friends ask you different questions about shows you've gotten back from, or they just figure it'll just be, "We'll wait and see what it looks like because we know Wes will be Wes?"
Pretty much. The people that know me, and they'll ask a couple questions like, "Was it really hard?" "Yes, it's really hard." "Are you injured?" "Yes, I'm injured." Show me the wound," that kind of thing. But I've got a good set of friends, and that includes the BNI community.
Mm.
They're so great when I come back. It's US, you're so skinny, and all this, and so yeah, I mean, everybody is really supportive and on board, which is great because you are gone a long
Mhm.
time and your business has to keep running, has to keep ticking. Life has to go on while you're not there.
When you flew out for the Montana show, how many days was it before you flew back home?
Um, I flew out. There was probably 3 or 4 days before the challenge started, and then two afterwards. So I mean, I was gone 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks total, leaving my house for a 14-day challenge.
Yeah. Did that go by fast for you?
Um, Looking back now, I'd say it went by fast. During the day, it was excruciatingly slow. It's kind of like raising kids when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
really little.
Yeah.
Every day is so long, but the years are very short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times in Montana did you question, "Why am I still doing this?"
Oh, about twice a day. Every time I go on one of these challenges, I go,
Yeah.
what was I thinking when I said yes?
You're
Do I
just
enjoy starving to
yeah.
death? But
You're
I kind of do.
Yep. You're just begging Molly one day to say, "No, you can't go." Like, "Okay, guys, I can't go." I would imagine, I think I asked you this the first time you were on a show, your your kids' friends probably had 100 questions about why is your dad on this show,
Mhm.
and probably wanted to come over and chat with you about it because it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, they're great. The kids were embarrassed the first time. You know, they were at that age where they're like, "You're gonna see my butt on TV.
Yep.
Friends are gonna see that." And so they were a little embarrassed, but as the years have gone on, they were really behind me. And, they have watch parties for their own friends. My daughter, got married, right before I flew out for South Africa, and there was about 200 people at the reception, and one of the guys was giving a speech, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Harper, how do you feel that everyone in this whole place has seen you naked?"
Jeez.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff, and he said it in good spirits,
Yeah.
everybody's laughing and everything, so was I.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people know, especially in my circles, they know that I'm the idiot that goes out on these challenges
Yeah.
and beats himself up, but then they sure enjoy watching it.
Oh, yeah. What can
Yeah.
you tell us about the show that's airing right now?
It's a competition style. It's the best of the best. It's all people who are excellent survivalists, and they're competing for the same resources. And there's challenges along the way where you can get eliminated. We've already seen a few episodes where a couple people have been medically tapped for hypothermia and heart rate issues. It's a brutal challenge. You don't think South Africa and think cold and rainy, but there are parts of it where it is freezing cold and very rainy. So there's a lot of like people going head to head. You know,
Yep.
you're trying to win, and
And
that
yeah.
brings out different things in different people. Let's say that.
Oh, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah. It's one thing in a competitive business environment when a bonus or a big new account's online. But
Hmm.
man, when you talk about surviving and then B, everybody's going to be watching this, you kind of take it up a notch, don't you?
You do. But I think everybody's true personalities come out,
Hmm.
and you really see what people are made of.
Yep.
Are you made for TV? Are you putting on a show?
Yep.
Are you really a nice person? And that's what this really elicits. You get to see what people are really made of. And you as it goes on, it's, another 6, 7, 8 Sundays every Sunday night, you'll see some stuff that maybe you didn't know
Right.
or didn't actually want to see,
Yep.
you know,
One
how
of
people.
the one of the best stories you told me, I think it was either in South Africa or Ecuador, your female partner, you guys you were setting up camp near a beehive, and she wanted that honey so bad, and you wanted no part of the honey, that she went and broke open that beehive and stuck her hand in there and got honey because she wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing, and at the time, I thought pretty foolhardy because we were, like, on day 18 or 19. It was our first challenge. Your whole goal is finishing, and she wanted to play with these bees for some honey, and I didn't want any part of it. And she did it.
Yeah.
She did it, and she got honey, and she shared with me. She was kind to do that.
And, that's what I remember most because I asked you that, "Did she share with you?" And you said, "Absolutely," and I think that spoke a lot about her.
I agree. I agree. We had a really good partnership, and really everything we got, we shared.
Good.
If I had success, I shared it. She had success, she shared it. So it made a really good partnership. Yeah, it was a good way to enter the franchise with a good partner.
Cool. Now, I believe my facts are correct on this next statement. To
Huh?
show how what a truly great businessman you are, obviously, to keep a business running 24 plus years is impressive. But for everyone to know how shrewd you are in negotiations you make 0 money from this show as a contestant, correct?
Uh, no.
Or next to nothing?
You get some living expenses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
it is this competition one that's on right now is the only one that has ever had a prize at the end.
Ah,
Rest
okay.
of them, you are paid kind of a living wage so that when you get home, you can still pay your electricity bill.
Okay.
It's not you don't do it until this one, you do not do it for prize. You just do it because you love doing it.
But like some of these other reality shows where they pay some of these yahoos 15 grand to be on to show how really stupid they are, you guys like, "Hey, enjoy. We'll see you in 14 days."
My first one, I got $14 an hour, Mike. What he total that? I was doing the math. The first one I did when I was a newbie, nobody knew who I was. I was
Yep.
getting 15 bucks an hour, and I
Alright,
was happy to get it too, man.
yep.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it.
Alright, so let's go back to your best paying high school job. What did you do and how much did you make in that job?
Oh, shoot. High school? I was probably making 3 and a quarter an hour. I mean, we're talking 84,
I know.
85, right? Yeah, probably making 3 and a quarter an hour working retail.
Thought you
Yeah.
were living life, weren't you?
Oh, I was killing it, killing it. Had gas in the car every single day. Jeez. Yeah.
Yep. I like that. What is the prize on this one? Have they told everybody?
Yeah, it's $100,000
Oh,
for the last person. And
okay.
so, I mean, so I think it was enough to be incentive, but not enough to kind of take away from what the show's about.
Oh,
It's really about surviving. And so if it was for $1 million, then it'd be like real heavy duty prize money.
yeah.
And I think it might take away from the survival aspect of the show. Whereas this was just enough to make you really want $100,000, but you're not going to cut anybody's throat for $100,000.
And this also shows, though, that you and the other contestants that are on a regular basis, you truly want to do this. Because a lot of times we hear athletes say, "Oh, I'd do it even if they never paid me." Well, you're walking that walk.
Yeah, it's a fine line, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're right there. Yeah. Everybody who's on this one loves doing it.
Yep.
And there was an incentive. I mean, yeah, most people, I've done 5 of them now. There were people there that was their maybe 7th challenge.
Wow.
And you don't do something like that unless you love it. You don't keep going back for the torture
Yeah.
unless you really love it.
Yeah. When did you get home from this one, and when did the first episode air?
I can't tell you when I got home because that would ruin the
Oh,
surprise.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
But the first episode aired maybe this Sunday was the third one. So 3
Okay.
weeks ago, May 7th or 9th,
Yep.
somewhere in there was the first episode. And they run the reruns. They stack them up before the new episodes on
Okay.
Sunday. So if anybody wants to check it out, they can just go on Discovery Channel anytime in the afternoon on Sundays, and they'll see plenty.
Do you think this new career you have will get you into the Virginia Tech Hall of Fame for distinguished graduates?
That's probably not. Probably not. I do get a lot of people who reach out from
Yep.
Tech.
I
Um,
I think you're underestimating yourself a little bit on this one.
we'll see what happens going forward. Since this is my 5th challenge, things have really been happening for me.
Good.
The first one, okay, flash in the pan. And as each one progressed, I mean, I'm getting really recognized a lot now. I'm being asked to do engagements.
Cool.
And there's more to come. I mean, maybe not challenges.
Yep.
I can't ever speak to that, but I've got things in the pipeline.
Good.
I've got a lot of things in the pipeline, and I continue to run my business
Happy
because
for you,
that's
man.
priority one,
Happy
right?
for you. If they said, "Hey, Wes, you get to pick the next location of your challenge you're in," what would you
Mhm.
pick?
Um, I'd like to try somewhere new. Because I've already been to South Africa twice. Somewhere in the Asian Pacific would be neat. I mean, that would be an area I've never gone to,
Mhm.
so it'd be new. Um, but South America is awesome at the same time. But yeah, if I could go out to Asia somewhere, I think that would be really neat.
And I don't think one of the things that wasn't talked about a lot, we briefly touched on a couple times, is the studying you have to do to understand what creatures are walking on the earth in the country you're going to figure out if you can eat them or not.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't think that anybody could just decide that they want to be a survivalist and pick up and get a book and do it. Yeah, I mean, you have to really live that life
Mm.
well before you ever do a challenge. I mean, most of the people out there, They're camping, they're fishing, they're hunting. They're doing that way before they ever did a challenge, much like me.
Mhm.
I don't mind being outside. I don't mind sleeping on the ground, except it hurts more now. Those kinds of things never bothered me. So that was nothing I had to overcome. Once I was out there, I was used to that. That's fine. But then doing a little research on, hey, this snake will kill you, whereas this one won't. And this plant will make you throw up for 5 days, and this one won't.
Well,
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of research that goes on when you find out the location you're going to, which is only a couple weeks before,
yep.
and then they usually zing you anyway and drive you 4 hours to some kind of environment that's different than the one you've been studying on.
Thanks, friends. Speaking of good food to eat, you got a cookbook.
I do.
All right.
I
How long has
do.
this been in the works?
About 6 months. Now I do a lot of the cooking for my family and I enjoy it. But yeah, for about 6 months, I just started putting recipes together, and I said, well, I could add some pictures. And so I ended up just publishing maybe 2 weeks ago. I finally got it published. And so, yeah, I have a cookbook. And so it's funny on the show, I'm nicknamed the Assassin.
Yes.
Okay. That's my nickname that the fans gave me, and it caught fire. So I'm going to just hold it up, but I've got
Please do.
killing it in the kitchen with
Ah,
the Assassin.
yes.
And so, I'm killing it in the kitchen. Yeah, I've got grilling recipes, and I've got kitchen recipes and stews and a little wild game in there, and lots of pictures of other survivalists that I've gone through things with over the years.
Now, are these some foods we can buy in the store, or do we have to go out in the wild and kill them?
Now, 90% of them are store bought. I do have some lake to table catfish, and there is some venison, a couple venison recipes, but 90% of them are, run to the grocery store, two spices. You don't have to fill up your entire spice rack with crazy things you've never heard of. It's not 22 ingredient recipes. It's really 5 ingredient recipes
Okay.
that just have a slight twist on them that make them taste really good and are really time sensitive to cook.
No scorpion seasoning is needed to make a dish?
No, no, no one would have that on hand except for me.
What kinda animals did you see in Montana?
Not much, not much. There was an incident though where a local had been killed by a grizzly bear
Ooh,
about a half a mile from where we were sheltering. So that was really bad. In the middle of the challenge, we had helicopters coming over and heard sirens, and we had no clue what was going on. And then production came and they warned us that the grizzly bears were coming out of hibernation and somebody had just been killed. So you know, that's disturbing. It's unfortunate. But other animals, not much. Some little bunny rabbits, couple deer, but there wasn't much there. Like there really wasn't much to eat.
man, 10 days. Jeez.
Yeah.
That had
Yeah.
to have been by day 5, had to start getting a little frustrating, huh?
Well, yeah, yeah, it really did. It really did. I mean, with the cold, you get no breaks.
Yep.
It's no break. It's constant, and you got a nice fire. Well, that's great for your front side. Your back's freezing. You turn around, your back's nice and warm, and your front's freezing. And there's nothing to make really good shelter. So if it rains, it's coming through.
Mm.
We had snowflakes coming through, even though we had 4 feet of branches as a roof. It still trickles through. So it's a constant battle against the cold. And it really wears you out. It's hard on the body to fight that hard against the cold, which never let up. So yeah, it was a longer challenge than some of the 21-day challenges.
Oh, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Mentally, it's brutal.
So this is May 22nd.
Mhm.
So you have a show airing. We assume if there hasn't been a phone call already for another one, there will be, which we're very happy about. Because
Okay.
I believe your body, you'll do this till your body says stop, right?
Yeah, I will. I will. I retire after every show, by the way. Every show, I say, "That's it, done, retired." And
Yep.
then that damn phone will ring, and I'll go again. Mm.
All right. So where can everybody buy your cookbook?
Easiest thing to do is go to my website, WesHarper.com. I actually have a cookbook. I have some merchandise from Making It Afraid on there, t-shirts, hats, and that kind of thing. And then also, if you're a fan of the show, you can just follow it and see some cool pictures and what's happening. Some of my speaking engagements. I just try to put everything on there so it's one-stop shop for anybody.
And when you got the call to say, Wes, we want you to be on this first show, I
Mhm.
always love when interviewers ask the guest, could you have ever believed this in your wildest dreams?
And
I think I know the answer, right?
not a chance. Not a chance. I would never thought there'd be a T-shirt with my face on it. You know, I mean, why would there be? Right? I'm an IT guy.
Yeah.
I'm a dad of 5. That doesn't merit your face on a T-shirt.
Well,
Ah,
and that's a myth you've broken, that because we assume all IT guys are just nerdy, and you are not.
well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Anybody that'll eat a scorpion or a snake, man, gotta have respect from everybody watching these shows. Because what we all know, some people look at it and go, "Yeah," and they really don't wanna do it, do they?
No, 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 no. I get people asking for advice all the time. They
Yeah.
say they really want to do it, and I really say, just go sleep in your backyard one night, and if you
Ooh,
still want to do it when you wake up the next day, then call me back and we'll talk.
yeah,
But it- people don't realize you watch a show and it's 43 minutes
yeah,
for an hour show, right?
yep,
And that's 21 days. You cannot fathom minute to minute how long that is. You go, "Oh, yeah, that's no big deal," and
yeah,
you're thinking 43 minutes. I do the same thing. I watch them after having done 5. I watch them and I go, "Oh, yeah, I could do that again." It's long.
yep,
It is long.
it
Minute to minute of getting bug bit, that makes for a long day, Mike.
and when next time somebody says, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing that," and you tell them to sleep in the backyard,
Mhm.
tell them every hour on the hour, their kids or their spouse just turns the garden hose on them for 10 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, that would be a true representation right there. Man,
Oh gosh, what?
it's not for everybody.
No,
For
no.
everybody. It's
But
not for most.
do they get a lot of applicants?
Thousands.
Okay.
Tens of thousands. And some of them are because they're people who like survivalism. And then there are some people who just want to try to be on TV.
Yep.
It's a combination, and they
Yeah.
weed those people out really quickly.
Oh, because
Uh,
they have all the wrong answers to the question.
yeah, yeah, they do, and you can tell. I mean, you can really tell if somebody's talking the talk,
Mm,
knows what they're talking about. It's very obvious, as opposed to somebody who just wants to get their face
yeah.
on TV. And occasionally those slip through, and
And
then those are the ones that bounce on like day 3.
yeah.
Take it.
Well, and I'm assuming in the first interview they had with you, the minute they found out you've been camping since you were old enough to remember,
Mhm.
kinda continued that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's true. I think I was 4 or 5 when I went camping. My parents let me camp by myself. And I was just in the little woods behind our house.
Yep.
I was by myself at 4 or 5. And so, that's somebody who can survive, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's he's comfortable in the woods for sure.
It didn't bother you at all, did it?
No, no, no. And hunting and fishing since I was the
Yep.
same age.
Yeah. And once they hear that stuff, it's like, "Okay, we're on to something here."
Yeah, then they dig a little bit deeper and see if you're a decent human being or not, and if you can be on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. You could be the greatest survivalist in the world, but if you're not good on camera, you can't be on the show.
Yeah. Because it is part entertainment, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's about selling beer during the commercials,
There you
for sure.
go. I like that. Wes could not have had a better guest on my 200 show. And again, I'd like to thank everybody that's been following the show for your support. It's been a blast. And like I said, hopefully there's 200 more coming. And I know Wes will be on again and again until he retires. And then we'll probably have him on 2 more times to ask questions we didn't get around to yet. So,
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you bringing me back on. It's been a hoot.
yep.
Always.
Yep, I enjoy it. Good luck with everything, and I'm sure there'll be a conversation. I'm sure I'll visit your chapter one day, and I'll see you're not there. It's like, okay, I know where he probably is. He's somewhere else.
We'll see.
Yep. So folks, if you have
On
any,
board.
any IT or security questions, AI questions, we've been putting Wes's phone number on the screen here. So give him a call. He and his team are happy to help you, but kind of start paying attention more and more as evolution of that world grows. We need to be a little bit more tuned into what things are going on, not only for our personal bank accounts and things like that, but for your business. Make sure you're not hacked, and if you are, how you do things. So please give Wes and his team a call. Wes, again, it's a blast. I love the stories because you do something that most of us, I don't even want to do it, and I'm still immensely entertained by it. So, um, but
Absolutely.
always good catching up with you. Glad you're healthy and glad you're having some success on this and a bunch of doors are opening up. That's nice to see when good things happen to good people.
Hey, thank you, buddy, very much.
And we will see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.